Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Welcome everyone to another edition of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. I don't know if you've heard the word on the street, if you've been, if you're connected, but you know what? I am Mr. Warren Hayes. I want to welcome you to the Monday Night Raw recap for February 11, 2019. Man, oh man. Man, oh man. What a show. And I seem more excited than I should be. But we'll get it. You know, we'll talk about it as we go along. You know, I don't want to sound like a party pooper. And that you're like, you tune in, you come in, and you're like, oh, well, okay, Warren hated it. You know, click. Well, you don't do click. You sort of, you load another website or another video on the side on YouTube, or you just skip your playlist on your podcasting thing. Whatever. We're going to get into it as we go along. But first and foremost, I want to sincerely thank you all for joining me live, because I do this live, in case you don't know, in case you're catching this later, about a half hour every main roster show. We've got a bunch of people in the chat. We have, of course, JPQ. We have Kristen Ashley, editor-in-chief of Diva Dirt. We have Kevin, who's here as well. Jason, J King as well. A whole bunch of people live, hanging out, chatting, enjoying each other's company. Or at least that's, you know, I like to think I bring people together. You know, that I'm like a great big tent. I'm a great big, like a big scout tent, under which, you know, you have very long tables where you can have all the boiled hot dogs that you like. It's just a jamboree of hot dogs under Warren's big tent. So yeah. So I want to thank everyone for showing up live, because I do these live about a half hour out of every show. Every live WWE show. I do this right here on youtube.com/Mr. Warren Hayes. And then if you don't show up live, well, then you can always tune in later on as a further recording, right? Because, you know, this will be available here, but you can also listen to this on podcast applications, you know, in simply the audio form. Let's say you can't stand to see my face. Let's just assume. Let's just assume that that you don't like looking at me. I don't know why. But let's just say, well, you can go ahead, head on over to Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, Spotify, Podbean, and you can listen to me. You don't have to put up with my weird mannerisms. Well, that's a thing. So, you know, if that's what you're into, go right ahead, and I appreciate it. And you can follow me on whatever podcast platform that you do enjoy. Tomorrow evening is going to be the SmackDown Live recap show. It's going to be the last recap show before we head into Elimination Chamber, which of course that means then I'm going to have a predictions show later on this week. It's actually going to be on a Thursday this week, just leading into Elimination Chamber, and I'm going to have the pleasure to have Kelsey of Kelsey of the Two-Face Wrestling Pod of Super Kicking It with Kelsey. She's going to be joining me. We're going to be running through the card, talking about everything. It's going to be a lot of fun. She's been covering wrestling for a while as well. You know, she has definitely some opinions, no doubt, and we're going to be running down the card and just having a nice old time. So be sure to join us. We're going to be doing this on Thursday, and it will be at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Valentine's Day. So it'll be the perfect opportunity for you folks to snuggle up with a loved one and listen to us discuss pro wrestling. I mean, I don't know what else you can do, really, on Valentine's Day, other than that, you know, if we're being completely frank with each other. So that's fantastic. So I'm glad. So it's going to be exciting. I'm glad she's going to be here. But in the meantime, before that, on Wednesday over on Fightful Select, I'm going to be doing my weekly 205 Live NXT UK recap show, and that's going to be super cool. If you don't know what FightfulSelect.com is, it is the premium service of Fightful, Fightful.com, where you can get all your pro wrestling news without any issues. You can jump right in there, and then if you want a little more coverage, if you want a little extra, if you want a little something else that you can put under your belt and enjoy and have a fun time with, well, you can go to Fightful Select and you subscribe for as low as $5 a month, and you get a whole bunch of extra content. You get my 205 Live NXT recap, NXT UK recap shows. You get Steven Jensen, who does the Weekender. You have Sean Ross Sapp, who has the Fightful Report, which he does every Wednesday. We have Q&A sessions. There's members on other members only podcasts, monthly retro reviews as well. Sean and I recently did Valentine's Day Massacre. That was a lot of fun. Go check it out. Fightful Select, and it'll be like a good time. That's what it's gonna be like. It's gonna be fun. So be sure to go check out the service. Subscribe. $5 a month. I mean, what is $5 these days? It's not much. And then if you want even more of a great taste of great things, I was once again generously invited to be a panelist on the Division podcast over on Fightful.com, hosted by Kristen Ashley, who was in the chat. She was very, very kind. You know, I'm on a streak right now, three guest appearances in a row, and I was joined by some other guy, Anthony Suter, some jabroni, or as we say in Canada, a jabron. And we had a good time. Kristen is the Division is the women's wrestling podcast, which she hosts every 2 weeks on Fightful. So it's always a good time. And I was very I'm of course I'm being a jerk here right now, but I was very honored that she invited me another time, and Anthony was there. It was fun. We had a good time. It was a fun show. I hope you check it out. That's over on Fightful.com. And if you want to support that, go listen. Give it a like as well. It was a good show. All right. Well, folks, we're going to get into it pretty much now, right? We're going to get into it. So you know what that means. Bold predictions. Yes, as usual, we're going to be doing bold predictions before we do anything else. I sent out into the tweets, into the tweets verse, the Twitterverse, the Twitterverse, bold predictions, asking people, to give me their boldest, biggest predictions for the evening tonight. So let's see what kind of bold predictions we got for tonight's edition of Raw. And there we go. I'll push all the buttons and eventually they'll work. Blaine, who popped in earlier just to say hello, but he has, he actually does sports. So he went to work out and do sports. Wesley Blake calls out Brock Lesnar and demands a universal title opportunity. Yeah, no. That wishful thinking on the part of Wesley Blake, but no, no. But thank you, Blaine. Thank you for your bold prediction. Next, we have JPQ, moderator extraordinaire here at the Mr. Warren Hayes Show. JPQ says, the Revival are finally crowned the tag team champions of the world. And to commemorate this momentous occasion, Spees from the Spees and the Benchmark Show shaves his head to match his hero and ours, Scott Dawson. Well, I would not have put this in if it wasn't for the fact that because this bold prediction came true, it's not as much a bold prediction as it is now a reality. But the thing here that I just wanted to point out, that I just wanted to underscore. By the way, Speeds and the Benchmark Show, fantastic show. They're on twice a week, every Monday, Thursday. Fantastic fellows. I've been a regular guest. Whenever they have takeovers, they deem it's a good idea to have me on their show to talk about NXT takeovers. But I'm really they're good guys. They're fantastic. They're fantastic guys. So it's always a pleasure to be there. But he says here, that Spees from the Speeds and the Benchmarks, where Chris basically shaves his head. The thing is, Chris is already bald. He's got nothing to shave. Why do you think he wears a hat all the time? He's got it's shiny, man. He puts it on there because the refraction of light into the camera would create a lens flare. That's why he wears a hat. There we go. So thank you very much, JPQ, for that. And finally, our last bold prediction of the evening. Harry chimes in and says, Scotty Too Hottie run in. Nope, didn't happen. And there you go. Those are our bold predictions for today. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all, everyone. All right. Hope everyone is having a good evening. We're going to jump right in. Start talking about Monday Night Raw. I took some notes. This is the kind of edition of Raw where I'm confused. Where I'm literally completely confused. Whereas, should I like it or should I not? It's like eating carrot cake. Like, you're eating carrots, but it's also cake. But do you want vegetables in your carrot cake? Am I enjoying the carrot cake or not? This is kind of how tonight's Raw was kind of like carrot cake. And we'll see. We'll see how it goes. But we're going to start off right now. We're going to go right ahead. We're going to start with Stephanie McMahon and Triple H, who came to the ring. They hype up the Elimination Chamber matches. Then they recap the goings-on from Raw and SmackDown Live last week. Talking about Becky Lynch, of course. Becky said that they said that Becky did see the doctors. And they said, basically, she went to get herself medically assessed. So, Becky, would you please come on out? But actually, before they get through the actual introduction, Becky interrupts, her music interrupts, and she comes out. A huge reaction, of course. Triple H tells her that this whole thing escalated very, very quickly and apologizes for what he said to her on SmackDown Live last week. And the doctors all agree, he says, then the doctors will clear you, Becky, for your injury. The suspension is lifted and the match at WrestleMania is on. And the match will happen if you do one last thing. For the match to happen at WrestleMania, you just have to do one last thing, that is apologize to us both, to Stephanie and Triple H. Stephanie says, of course, Becky's not necessarily enthralled to the idea of apologizing. She's not in the mood to actually bend to their will. And the match at WrestleMania is on. All she has to do is apologize. Stephanie says, you don't have to get all worked up. You don't have to be stubborn. But Becky straight out says, that she doesn't trust either of them or the old man, talking about Vince. Says your family's been screwing people in the ring. And she says, I'll fight you, pointing at Stephanie, I'll fight you, pointing at Triple H, and I'll fight your old man, which is actually something I'd kind of like to see. And, you know, she was fired up. It was that bit of the promo of the moment was pretty fun. And she says, you know, that she's not ready to lose that opportunity. But Triple H comes after her and says, you know, do you want to fight here or do you want to fight at WrestleMania? Do you want to fight us or do you want to have your spot over at WrestleMania? Or do you want to lose everything? You know, will you go to WrestleMania and show the world that you are the man kind of thing? Or will you choose to throw it all away? And we're going to need an answer by the end of the night. So that pretty much wraps up the segment here, which because Sasha and Bayley then come out for their match. Now, this was I like this opening segment. I thought it was okay, and it, you know, kept establishing Becky Lynch as, you know, very hot-headed, very strong-willed, you know, very suspicious of what things, of the various machinations that happen within WWE. Kind of feel like they were drawing, that they were wiping off what the buildup that they had been doing for at least last week, you know, where she actually fought Stephanie, where she slapped Triple H across the face. It sort of felt like a reset. And when you look at the outcome of the evening, we should have kind of seen that coming. We should have seen the outcome, you know. It was a little too convenient. But I like this opening segment. I thought it was good. So that leads us into Sasha Banks and Bayley versus Nia Jax and Tamina versus Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan. So that a triple threat tag team match, basically, with the winner. Is that it? The winner being, oh man, there were stakes here. The winner of the match coming out last, right? In the Elimination Chamber, something like that. I think that's what it was. Wait a sec. Excuse me. I just want to take a look here in the chat because people are talking about carrot cake here. Let me see here. Joe Anthony says carrot cake is gross. Let's be real. You know what? Joe Anthony, I'm kind of on your side here. You know, carrot cake is a weird one. And I don't care whoever is calling it blasphemy in the chat right now. I don't care. And thank you for the precision, the precision, Hitman or Hitmen. The losers of the match are the first entrant in the Elimination Chamber. So thank you. But then there's also a second entrant, right? Like, that's the thing. It's like, it's always about the first entrant, but there's a match, so there's two entrants. Like, there has to be two losers, two people who begin, or two teams. It's the same thing with the Royal Rumble. Everyone makes a big deal out of who's in number one. Well, there's a number two. You can't have a wrestling match without two people. So there's always two people. So we have our match here. Nia Jax and Tamina, Sasha and Bayley, and Liv and Sarah Logan. Sasha starts off the match and she slaps Nia across the face and sort of to bait her, but then she goes and tags Liv in. And I thought that was pretty fun. I thought that, like, you know, Sasha, she can't be a pure baby face. She just can't. She can't be. I thought this was fun. Like, she pokes the bear and she gets the hell out of Dodge. I liked it. Liv jumps at Nia, who shoves her down. Liv then tries to tag Sasha in, but Sasha and Bayley, but they jump off the apron. They're like, nope, you're on your own, sister. Just kind of made a couple of dicks. Liv hits an enziguri on Nia Jax, though. Logan comes in, gets some offense in, but Nia takes control. Tamina comes in and presses Logan down. Liv eats a huge European uppercut by Tamina. She gets slammed and covered for 2. The heels stay in control of Liv for a good part of the match here. Liv starts drop kicking Nia, gets her reeling, hits the ropes. Bayley tags herself in, and Liv takes exception to it. Bayley tries to drape DDT Liv, but instead she gets charged. She, being Bayley, gets charged by Nia. And meanwhile, Ruby and Sarah Logan take Sasha out on the outside. And back from commercial, they're doing the injury angle with Sasha again, where she's hurt. Now, of course, the question is Sasha really going to be ready for, they're obviously protecting her at this point. Is she going to be ready for the match this weekend? That's the question that we all have in mind, in the back of our heads, don't we? Will she be able to compete? And it would suck if they don't. If they're not ready, it would suck. And I'll tell you why at the end. At the end of this. The match goes on, and Bayley is alone, so she's taking a lot of punishment from the heels. The Riot Squad double team Tamina. Then there's some double drop kick, sliding knee by Logan. The Riot Squad do a wheelbarrow slam onto Tamina, cover her, but only gets 2. Nia Jax comes in and avalanches Logan. Tamina gets a Samoan drop on Logan, then goes up top for the Snuka splash, but Logan lifts her legs. Eventually, Bayley and Liv become legal. Bayley hits her signature offense, the ground and pound, the double hanging, and she hits double hanging neck breakers on Tamina and Liv. Double drop kick through the corner, big diving elbow off the top rope on Liv, covers her, but Logan breaks up the pin. Match comes to an end when Nia hits the Samoan drop on Bayley for the win. I thought this match was fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I was glad the Riot Squad was actually given some time to do some stuff in this match. I thought that was really, really, that was something that was needed, because they do need to get some stuff in, right? They do, and to be considered credible, at least in the Elimination Chamber, because going into it, they're probably one of the two, maybe between them and the Iconics, which one of those two teams doesn't come across as on the same level as the 3 others, despite the fact that Naomi and Carmella are not really a team. As singles competitors, they're credible. Put them together, you sort of expect something to happen out of it. But yeah, no, this was an interesting match. I really hope that they go forward here and do something. Give the titles to Bayley and Sasha, because Jesus Christ, they have to do something here. And I'm really worried about Sasha's injury. Sasha is injured. She hasn't been doing much. That's why they've been rolling back a little bit their role here. Her role, I should say, over the past couple of weeks. Trying to get her ready, I guess, for Elimination Chamber. Man, I'm going to tell you one thing. If Sasha and Bayley don't win, you could probably expect a rant. I really, really, really expect them to win, because their 2018 was such shit, because creative couldn't make up their mind on what to do with them. Are they friends? Are they foes? Oh, they're friends again. Oh yeah, they're going to be a tag team. There's going to be titles, but the titles are only revealed at fucking Christmas. Come on, there's some... At this point, they just have to do something with Sasha and Bayley. And they have gold on their hands in these two ladies. They're fantastic. They've put up through a lot within the past year, 18 months. They deserve the titles, and there is no other right answer to them to who's winning the titles. This at Elimination Chamber, there's no other credible competition outcome than having Sasha and Bayley winning. There's just not. Anyway, let's see what folks are chatting about here. Bobaruski has joined in. How you doing? Jason Campbell thinks I'm the worst, but that's okay. So does your mom. Let's see. CM Phil is here. How you doing? He says, I'm starting to think that Sasha's injury is a work. If it isn't, why they just don't admit she's hurt? Well, they kind of, it's the kind of information that they don't like necessarily to spread around. I don't think it's that much of a work, but we'll see. Let's see here. Hitman said Bayley showed a lot of fire. Kristen says I miss Bayley, and it's something that does need to be pointed out during this match. Bayley was again fantastic. She can carry stuff. She's great to look at, and man, people are really just waiting for an excuse to cheer for Bayley. I've been saying this for a long, long time. They're ready to cheer for her. Like when she attacked Sasha last summer after a match, people just exploded. The audience just went crazy for her. That's what they want from Bayley. Bobaruski thinks they're going to chase the titles. I hope not. I really hope not. I really don't. CM Phil says Bayley looked really great last night, and I definitely think she and Sasha are winning. Otherwise, what the fuck was the point of all this buildup? Swerves. Swerves, CM Phil. They just like these swerves. All right. Kevin Carroll, how you doing? All right. Next, we have Elias, who tries to get his his segment off the ground, doesn't he? He's doing his best. Like, he's really, really trying. He's doing everything he can, and he keeps getting interrupted. Now, my question to you, he gets cut. He gets cut by a backstage segment between Finn and Becky Lynch. He gets cut off by a Seth Rollins promo. Then what's the other package? There's something else where he gets cut off with. Hang on, did I write it down? Or I think it's just back from commercial. We just go to commercial. No, that's it. He gets interrupted by a Lucha House Party. I felt for Elias at this point. I really did. How am I supposed to treat him like a heel when I'm like, God, let the man do his thing? He's set up in the ring. What kind of shitty production value are you running here, Kevin Dunn? For fuck's sake, the guy's in the ring. He's ready. He's mic'd. He's got his guitar. Ring announcer's calling his name. Hello, I am Elias. Whoops. All right, let's cut to this segment here. Oh, let's go backstage. For fuck's sake. Fuck's sake. And throughout all of this, we do get a segment with Finn and Becky, which I'm sure, I'm sure that, this was I'm sure a bunch of fanfic writers at this point started getting really, really sweaty when they both appeared on screen together. Basically Finn telling Becky, why you should just, apologize and let's, have your match kind of thing. Don't let pride get in the way. Then there's a package about for Seth Rollins where he's basically they're hyping up the fact that this has been a long time coming, WrestleMania, so on and so forth. And then we get back to the ring, and then Elias gets interrupted by Lucha House Party. And Elias is pissed. And I have to agree. Like right now, honest to God, Lucha House Party are heels. How can you not consider these guys to be heels? He's in the ring and with the Luchas, and he says, that he's the biggest musical act in the world right now, and he wonders why these guys are out here. And Kalisto comes and he says, unlike you, we like to entertain the WWE universe. You're like, what? But tonight we want to walk with Elias. Okay. So basically Elias does his spiel, asks everyone to shut up and he does his heel song on Grand Rapids. And then he asks for Lucha House Party's, opinion, and they all give a big thumbs down. And then there's some nonsense that follows. They have Lindsay and Gran Metalik say things. Excuse me, I have something in my eye. There's they're just I completely lost my train of thought. So basically, they're cutting promos on him. They're making him feel weird. There's some nonsense. Kalisto gets the guitar, plays a little Spanish style guitar, which was absolutely decent. I'm like, wow, okay. But no one really wanted to see Lucha House Party here. And the way they've been booking Lucha House Party on Raw, as it stands, it's been terrible. They've only booked Lucha House Party as as heels, or at least baby faces using underhanded tactics to get what they need to do. But it's kind of like a heel, right? When they had that mini feud with the Revival, and the Revival would come to the ring expecting a tag team match, and it was like, well, no, it's Lucha House Rules. The fuck is Lucha House Rules? It's a 3-on-2. Like, what? What? My God. So basically, Kalisto plays the guitar. Elias is like, hey, you're pretty good. You want to do a duet? And he walks over to grab his other guitar and cracks it across Kalisto's back. And he runs. This was the best part. It's like Elias cracks the guitar. Like he tells Gran Metalik and Lindsay Dorado, you guys sit there. And, I'll go get my guitar over here, and I'll just, and then we'll play a song. He just cracks it, explodes it on Kalisto's back, and he just hightails. Just like, whoa. And he's satisfied. He's so happy. But, man, this is not, if they want Elias to get over as a heel, they are not doing it the right way. And as much as I've said this before, and I will say it again, as much as I love Lindsay Dorado and Lucha House Party on 205 Live, I think that they get everything they deserve on Raw. The little punks. I don't like them. They come out all colorful and shit, but they're super underhanded and sneaky. So if Elias runs off having guitared the shit out of Kalisto, gotta tell you, I'm okay with that. I am okay with that. Let's see here. What's going on here? Babaruski says they're just a comedy act and they're not serious in-ring competitors. That's it. It's interesting. It's interesting. I wouldn't even call them a comedy act because they're not funny. You know? They're not entertaining as a funny guy, as a funny group of guys. And it's really interesting how much of a dichotomy there is as far as their personality on Raw is versus on 205 Live, or on 205 Live, like they're no nonsense. They just go. Whereas on Raw, there's a lot of silliness. Kristen says that first I have shit takes on cakes. Now I like Lucha House Party. What? Have you been paying attention, Kristen? Jesus. Have you heard of volume? Like you could turn it up a little more. Maybe turn up your hearing aid. Christ. But there we go. And Joe Anthony says, for your information, Lucha House Party will always be better than Carrot Cake. I agree. But and Anthony Suter, who's here, smart to death, who is a moderator in my chat, says the last person I heard complain about Hispanics this much was Donald Trump. Just saying. Let's see here. We can go over here and remove moderator. There we go. All right. So. We're having a good time. There's a bit of a promo for Mandy Rose and Sonya Deville. Bobby Lashley comes out with Lio Rush. Mandy and Sonya as well. And but Lashley and Lio Rush are coming out because of the next match, Finn Balor versus Drew McIntyre. Why are Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush coming out for this match here? Well, because it was announced over the weekend. That Finn Balor and Finn Balor was going to fight Bobby Lashley and Lio Rush in a triple threat, not a 2-on-1 match. That's what's going to happen at Elimination Chamber, and I'm kind of like, I'm doing a or a T-pose. Why are they doing this? My God. They could actually just give us like Finn Balor versus Lio Rush and I'd be fine with that. That would actually be fantastic. But anyway. So that's why Bobby Lashley is out here. He tries to distract Finn right off the bat. Actually, he succeeds. It allows Drew to get in control of Finn and he beats him down. Gets him in a stretch, but Finn fights back, hits a drop kick. They fight on the apron. Drew charges in, but Finn leaps over the top rope and he posts himself. Drew does, I mean. Finn goes to dive, but he gets distracted again. He drop kicks Lio Rush through the ropes. Sling Blade follows, and Finn goes up top for the coup de grace on Drew, but Lashley tosses him off the top rope. That causes the disqualification. Drew then goes for the stairs. Kurt Angle comes out. He hits a German suplex on Lashley, a German suplex on Drew, an ankle lock on Lio Rush. Then Baron Corbin comes in. Then Braun Strowman comes in. By God, folks, it is a free-for-all, or as we say in French, un gratuit pour tous. Braun tries to power slam Baron Corbin, but the other heels come in to save him. So basically we cut to commercial. When we come back from commercial, folks, holla holla, playa, Kurt Angle, Finn Balor, and Braun Strowman are in a 6-man tag team match against Baron Corbin, Drew McIntyre, and Robert Lashley. And Angle is in with Drew. He has Drew in an arm lock. Double axe handle from the turnbuckle follows up, but Balor then. But the heels get in control of your boy Finn. who eventually fights back with the Tornado DDT on Drew. Angle comes in, does the triple Germans. An Angle slam is avoided, but Angle hits a messy missile dropkick on Drew. Finally gets the Angle slam, covers, but Baron Corbin comes in to break it up. Braun distracts the ref. At this point, Lashley runs in to STO Angle. And then Corbin comes in with a chin lock. Lashley then follows in, goes from some strikes, stays in control until he charges Angle and eats a kick. Drew then comes in, makes sure that Angle can go tag out. When we're back from commercial, Drew is trash-talking Angle, and he gets a slap, which allows Finn to get the hot tag, who takes down the heels. A flying forearm on Baron Corbin. A sling blade is countered into a chokeslam over the knee by Corbin, who covers Finn, but only gets 2. The heels take out Angle and Strowman, who fights back on Corbin and Drew to the outside. But he ends up eating a Claymore by Drew McIntyre on the floor. Finn enziguris Lashley, goes up top. He's distracted by Lio Rush. And Lashley then hits like a reverse dominator. Covers Finn. Finn's on the ropes, but the ref counts to 3 nonetheless. So your winners are Bobby Lashley, Baron Corbin, and Drew McIntyre until another ref comes out and overturns the call, and they restart the match. Now, holy smokes. This match lasted like 40 minutes. It did. It was really, really long from the moment that is this whole segment. Basically, for the rest of the match, it's Finn taking a beating. Angle's been laid out. Braun Strowman is eating claymores to the side of the head a couple of times, and he's like out in the audience trying to recover. Finn just takes a beating in the ring. Eventually, Strowman does make it to ringside. Finn tags him in. Strowman shoulder tackles Lashley down, takes out the heels, avalanches and pummels all of the heels. He does the run around the ring shoulder tackles thing, and he just runs through everyone, even taking out Lio Rush. Angle suplexes Corbin to the mat. Strowman avoids Drew in the ring. Power slam on Lashley. Coup de grace. Finn pins Bobby Lashley. And that is your match. This was so long. It was so long. And this combination of guys that we have here tonight, it's all stuff we've seen before. Jay King just said here, you seem really lifeless tonight, Warren. And he says, LOL. But I feel a little spent. Like, this basically took up most of the hour here. It took out most of the second hour of Raw, and it was a bit of a slog to get through. And I feel like we've seen these combinations a lot now. Let's just try to move on to other stuff with these good folks. It was a bit of a slog, this part here. We get a promo for Kevin Owens, who's bowling. He's bowling with family members, kids. So that's nice, and kind of feels like Kevin's ready to come back in a bit of maybe in a babyface role, right up until he swerves us and he starts kicking everyone in the face. Get another segment with Becky Lynch backstage. with Charlie Caruso, basically asks who confronts her for an interview. And what will you tell your fans if you don't apologize? Is what she says. And, Becky says, clearly that's none of your damn business. All right. Next we get Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross. And I was like, I perked up. I was like, oh, well, this might actually be very good. I was like, Nikki Cross is fantastic. Ruby Riott is fantastic. But you know what? This was not fantastic. This was short and extremely cookie cutter. And if the plan here was to make Ruby Riott look like a threat or hype up her match against Ronda Rousey, or both, well, it was just an overall failure. It was just terrible. A terrible failure. Not a terrible match. Look, at first, Ruby and Nikki, they have some exchanges. They have some back and forth. And I'm like, maybe they might give this match a little time. And if this match has a little time, well, you have my attention because these are two great workers. Cross hits a flying crossbody, covers Ruby Riott for 2. Ruby drives Cross's face against the turnbuckles. But then we cut backstage and and then we see Ronda Rousey and Becky Lynch. And Rousey comes up to Becky and she says, this is bigger than all of us. Stop cradling your ego. Just, if you don't apologize, you'll prove you're a coward. Now, as someone has to explain the psychology of this to me. Why would Ronda Rousey care whether it's Becky Lynch or anyone else fighting her for the title? Why would she go and confront her and say, you're basically, the strokes that the picture she was painting, Jesus Christ, the picture she was painting tonight was basically, look, Becky, do what you have to do. Don't be a coward so we can fight each other. But ultimately, shouldn't she be like, I don't give a shit. If you want to shoot yourself in the foot, Lynch, you go right ahead. I don't care. I'm not going to come give you a booster talk. Psychology-wise, it doesn't make sense to me. Because they're not supposed to like each other. And she's the champ. She's supposed to be like, you know what? If it's not you, it's going to be someone else. I don't give a shit. Why would she try to go motivate Becky to do the right thing? Stop cradling your... Thank you, Kevin. Stop cradling your pride like a baby. And I mean... I get, the thing is that I get what they were trying to do. Like, I get what they were trying to do, but all they needed to do was a snide comment, right? Just a snide comment by Ronda, just like, I don't know, just, making fun of Becky's decision making, that it's going to take her 3 hours to decide whether she should apologize or not. And in the meantime, Ronda has her competition in the ring, but we're completely ignoring it. So it takes away entirely, like already setting Ronda Rousey versus Ruby Riott at Elimination Chamber is already a hard sell because we're already focused on Becky Lynch versus Ronda. This is such a hard sell in and about itself for the next pay-per-view. Ronda just completely ignoring Ruby Riott just devalues the match. I leave this unto you, chat. Is this a match you're looking forward to? Are you excited for it? And anyone else who's listening or watching? It was just so strange to me, this whole segment. Completely ignoring her competition. You know, I mean, you talk about WWE telegraphing the endings to their matches. Holy shit. Holy shit. Like I'm doing a prediction show on Thursday, right? You guys are going to tune in, right? At 7 p.m. Eastern. Going to have Kelsey from Super Kicking It with Kelsey and the Two-Face podcast. Please, you know, there's no, the prediction here is clear as day. I don't know, man. It's so strange. So then they do this segment while Ruby and Nikki Cross are fighting. So it even devalues what Ruby is doing in the ring. Like this feels. It doesn't even feel like it belongs on the pay-per-view at this point. Ronda and Ruby. It doesn't. And you know, they had they had a good little angle set up last week when Ronda when Ruby like sort of wanted to go after Ronda, who beat up her friends, and she's like, no, I'm gonna take my time. And Ruby went backstage and had an interview in gorilla position, and she was like, no, you know what? You know, these are my friends. I could go after her, but I'm gonna look after my friends here. And then I'm going to come after her. And I'm like, yeah. This is good shit. I like this. It wasn't even addressed. It just felt like nothing. This is I'm okay with throwaway matches, but this feels like a throwaway match that you're putting on a pay-per-view. I don't like it. Anyway, the match basically ends. And here's the other thing. Like, we should all have been naturally excited for Ruby Riott versus Nikki Cross, right? Right? But I mean, it was so short. And there was nothing. Just a lot of signature offense from both ladies. Nothing inherently wrong with it. Don't get me wrong. It's far from being a terrible match. But yo, ends with Ruby Riott hitting the Riot kick. But I mean, come on. Kevin says, whoops, sorry about that. Kevin says, WWE hasn't done anything to make me care about this match. Why should I? They started to make us care last week, which is when they sort of announced it, but they completely dropped the ball here. Ruby should get squashed, honestly, says Hitman. The match means nothing. It's not an excuse for her to get squashed. She's going to lose. Wouldn't have her get squashed. Kristen calls the whole thing lazy. Joe Anthony says, any chance Riott versus Ronda gets the kickoff spot? I got that kind of build. They pay Ronda Rousey too much to put her on the kickoff show. That's kind of a bad thing to say, but it's true. And it is a placeholder match. I agree. CM Phil. Anthony from Smart to This says the Riott Squad has been such a joke, and it sucks because they are all great. You know what? I forgot to mention this earlier on, but Liv Morgan, man, she's a gem for that trio. And she's, she takes her lumps like she's clearly meant to be the weak link of the team, but when she decides to pull it out, she's really, really good. She's really, really good. JPQ says, best double team moves in tag team wrestling, the Revival, then the Riott Squad. You know what? This is one thing that the Elimination Chamber women's tag team championship match has given us. It's like we finally got to see like really Liv and Sarah have a chance to be a tag team and work as a tag team instead of just like, oh, well, we're thrown together. Now that, actually working as a unit. So that was good. I really like Liv too. Seth Rollins then comes out in a auspiciously dull moment of the evening where he recaps him winning or actually not winning, but performing in the gauntlet, which was about a year ago at this time, last year. He talks about winning the IC title, punching his ticket to WrestleMania, talks about taking 6 F5, says he's hurt, he's never felt so much pain, blah, 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 blah. Paul Heyman comes out, interrupts him, teases that Brock Lesnar's there, but he's not. Of course. Not all men are created equal. Do you think your DNA matches the one from Brock Lesnar's? Brock Lesnar's a beast, a merciless monster without a soul. I don't know. This was all very formulaic. This whole segment here, I'm going to tell you folks, if you guys and gals got excited for the for Brock versus Seth with this promo here, I salute you. Because this did nothing for me. This was a little dull. However, Dean Ambrose comes out at the end, hits the ring, grabs a mic, and he looks Seth straight in the eye and says, I only got one thing to say to you, slay the beast. He goes out, takes a seat at ringside. Seth smiles. I mean, you know, that's all you have to do. That's all that's left to do here is like build that bridge again before Dean leaves. You know, it's starting to feel like Dean Ambrose's not his victory lap, but his what is it you do when you leave a sports center organization? It's not a victory lap, or is it a victory? I don't know. It's not a victory lap. Anyway, that leads us into Dean Ambrose versus EC3, a rematch from last week, 50-50 booking. It keeps us all on our toes. This was fine. You know, nothing really extraordinary. There was a stalling vertical suplex on Dean by EC3. They traded a lot of chops. EC3 did his elbow drop. Dean eventually battles back and sneaks in a small package for the win here. And that was not innuendo, folks. Yeah, 50-50 booking got us all on top here. It was all a good thing. Talking about the Swan Song, taking a bow curtain call, singing like a fat lady. I think we're all... Are we talking about Dean here? Or are you talking about my... Yeah, it's the farewell tour. Is it, you know, unless, you know, we're really being swerved from top to bottom. Unless. But I don't think so. Next, we have our main event match of the evening. Hoo boy, folks. Well, before Alexa Bliss and Becky Lynch had an exchange, you know, where Alexa was doing her disingenuous thing, but Becky sees right through it. We get Bobby Roode and Chad Gable versus the Revival for the Raw Tag Team titles. Wilder and Gable lock up at first, and Wilder gets hip-tossed by Gable. Dawson comes in and eats some arm drags. But Dawson gets the situation back under control. Gable rolls out and quickly lands a drop toe hold on Dawson, but he gets uppercutted by Dawson. Double team attempts by the Revival end with Gable hitting a diving clothesline on both guys. And then Roode comes in and they hit tandem T-bone suplexes. And Gable goes to launch himself over the top rope, but he lands on the apron to avoid falling into a trap by the Revival. A few shenanigans ensue, and Roode runs interference that allows Gable to hit a moonsault to both dudes of the Revival onto the floor. We come back from commercial and Bobby Roode is in trouble. He tries to fight back, avoids a Bronco Buster by Wilder. Both men are out. Gable and Dawson then go at it. Gable goes for the 10 punch on Dawson in the corner. Then he sort of catches Dash Wilder coming after him out of the corner of his eye. So he leaps off the turnbuckle and onto Wilder and then punches him into the ground. Overhead suplex on Wilder. German suplex on Dawson for 2.9. Wilder rope hangs Gable. Then double team leg drop. Wilder then covers Gable, who kicks out at 2. Gable tries to reach Bobby Roode, but the Revival are doing a great job cutting him off. Double team elbow over the knee. And Wilder covers Chad Gable for 2.9. Rolling German suplex on Wilder, then another release German on Dawson. Gable has no one to tag to, though, because Bobby Roode has been taken out. But eventually, Gable whips Dawson into the corner and gets the hot tag to Bobby Roode, who comes in with a back body drop. He plants Dawson. Flapjack with Wilder onto Dawson. He hits a spine buster on Wilder, covers, but only gets 2. Sets up for the glorious DDT, but he gets rolled out of the way by Wilder. And then the Revival hit the gory special. They hit the gory special. Sunset flip on Dawson as Gable cross bodies Dawson. There's a lot of stuff going on here. It's really started to get exciting. So the babyfaces go for their combination moonsault into a neck breaker finish, but the Revival power out of it. Instead, they try to do a blockbuster into a German. Well, actually, they do it into a pin by they do it on Wilder, pin him, but Dawson saves the day at the so very, very last minute. It was like hairline. Gable is trying to keep it alive in the ring, and he and Wilder are on the top rope. Shenanigan ensues. Finishes with a top rope clothesline, like what the Legion of Doom used to do. Name of the move kind of slips my mind right now. Roode pushes Wilder into Dawson to break up the pin, and the audience is chanting, "This is awesome." For a crowd that was sitting on its hands for the better part of this match, look at what happens when you put some dudes who know what they're doing. Crowd was finally starting to get into this. There's some counters that happen, and Gable jackknife covers Dawson, who kicks out, followed by the Shatter Machine, and the Revival finally fucking win the Raw Tag Team titles. This was so good. This was a lot of fun, and the crowd was not into it at first. But you see what happens, guys, and this is the thing that, you kind of want WWE to realize. They may not get the super pop crowd reactions when they come out, but the audience will recognize when something special is happening in the ring, when there's something good happening, and they will react. And the pop that they got at the end was phenomenal. The audience realized, oh shit, look at this match. We are having a good time here, folks. This was really, really fun. And it was about damn time that the Revival get the titles. So, folks, the Revival to AEW not confirmed. This was a lot of fun. This was a great, great tag team match. And the MVP of this match is Chad Gable. Man, this guy did it all in this match. He is so damn smooth. This was amazing. He carries that team, man. Bobaruski says, this is also Hawkins and Ryder pinned the Revival. Everyone's like, oh no, don't say that, Bob. Don't say that. It could, but there's the potential to have a really great match. You know, I mean, we haven't seen Zack Ryder or Kurt Hawkins really wrestle a match in such a long time, like a proper match. But I mean, there's the potential there to have something fantastic. So this would be great. Ooh, Hitman says, Gable versus Bate at Access, please. Oh, now you just made me want something really, really bad. You know, there's not a lot of things that I want really, really bad in this world. You know, a nice warm shower in the morning. I like that really, really bad. Not a lot of stuff. But I want this. Gable versus Bate at Access. Whoo. I'd be all for that. Joe Anthony says, I would love to see Hawkins end his losing streak with a tag title win. You know, that would actually be a great story. That would be a fantastic, fantastic story. Main event segment. Suddenly we're on Raw circa 1997. Becky Lynch comes to the ring and she's with, they're all in the ring. Stephanie, Triple H, Becky. Stephanie asks if cooler heads will prevail. Will you go on to live your dream at WrestleMania or not? Triple H says, believe it or not, we want this to work out. And Becky's sort of like, yeah, okay. She's not quite sure. She doesn't quite trust them. Do you want to live your dream? And she tries, she goes for it, and she says, Triple H, Steph, I'm sorry. She apologizes. Let's continue. So basically, Triple H says, all right, now that nonsense is out of the way, congratulations, you're going to WrestleMania. Your suspension is lifted. I'm like, what? That's it? That's your angle? That's your big idea? This is it? No, that can't be it. And then, so Becky then hits the mic and she's hype and she starts talking. That brings Ronda Rousey out. Where Rousey's like, excuse me. Rousey comes out and hits the ring. But then, surprise, surprise, out comes Vince McMahon. And he thinks, no, we're not done here. He's suspending Becky Lynch for 60 days. Oh, and 60 days, that would put us over WrestleMania, right? And guess who he's putting in? Charlotte Flair, who just happens to be there with the absolute widest grin across her face. And Vince tells Ronda, well, here's your match for WrestleMania. Anyway, okay, so basically, what they're doing here, what they've done here is that they've swerved Becky, or at least, Triple H and Stephanie thought they were doing the right thing. Vince comes out and he's like, no, I'm fed up with this garbage. And he takes her out of the match on a technicality and puts Charlotte in her place. Now, there's a couple of things that don't jive here. I find that the apology is very, very much, or was very, very much, out of Becky Lynch's character. Didn't make sense for her to be like, all right, well, I don't have much of a choice. I'm sorry. That's not how she's been built up. And it takes away a little bit of her shine here. Just a bit. I still love her. I'm pretty sure you do as well. But this is a weird decision to have her come in and not kick some ass. This was strange. She beat up Stephanie last week. She slapped the taste out of Triple H on last Tuesday. Why not do something similar here? But here comes, the rumors, everyone's fear that they're turning the main event into a triple threat. Charlotte, Becky, Ronda, all in the mix here. Because you know they're not going to have Becky sit out for 60 days. She's going to be in WrestleMania. She's going to be in the main event. But do we want it to be a triple threat? I would argue that we don't. I really think that the consecration of the main event at WrestleMania should be the women. It should just be two of them. Look, here's the thing. Ultimately, here's the thing, right? There's still time. There's still time for this to remain a one-on-one match between Ronda and Becky. Now, I don't like how the angle was played out tonight. And I think it makes Becky look... It doesn't make Becky look as strong as she could. I think she's being screwed, which is fine. But if they're going to make her look like or come across as the New Age Stone Cold, well, they have to not do this. Or this has to be like the moment where the switch is flicked and she was like, look, I thought, I thought I was doing the right thing. I should have listened to my gut. From this point on, fuck y'all. I'm doing it my way. That would seem fair to me. There's still time, right? Between now and WrestleMania. We have a little pay-per-view in the meantime called Fastlane that's coming up. I would be 100% okay. 100% okay with, let's say, Becky Lynch versus Charlotte for a number one contenders match. Let's have them settle it instead of having a triple threat match. Because I don't think anyone really wants the triple threat match. Not because we don't, in my case, it's not because I don't like Charlotte. It's not because I don't think they could pull off a good triple threat match. This is WrestleMania. This is special. It has the potential. We currently have a match, Lynch and Rousey, that potentially can be a legitimate main event. Why would you make it a triple threat? And besides, we still have Asuka. Let's not forget Asuka, who is going to need a credible competitor as well. Going to need a credible threat. Why couldn't she inherit someone here? Why couldn't she inherit Charlotte? So instead of just harping too much on this and trying to point out, the negatives in here, this is what I kind of think. This is what I kind of think is going to happen. Or how I'd book it anyway. You have however shenanigans you want to get this, you want this done, you get Becky unsuspended, right? The 60-day garbage. She fights Charlotte at Fastlane for the number one contender spot. It's not a triple threat. Number one contender spot. You put her there. I'm 100% okay with Charlotte and Asuka too. Because they had probably one of the better, well, not probably, They had one of the better matches at WrestleMania last year. I'm okay with them having another go-around. It'd be great, especially if now there's no question in our minds that Charlotte Flair is back to being what she's supposed to be. That is a heel. Heel Charlotte is fantastic. Let her be a bitch. That would be a great match. I think they have to do something like this at Fastlane. They have to stretch out these. I think that's what they're going for. Trying to create stakes for Becky, create the situation where the odds are stacked against her really, really bad, and she has to do everything in her power. Her leg is injured. She's been screwed out of her position. She has to try and get back into contention, put back into the match. I just don't want a triple threat. I just don't want a triple threat. That's all. I don't think it'll be a good service because then on top of that, let's say, and Chad, feel free to chime in on this. If you're not, who are you giving Asuka at WrestleMania then? If it's not Charlotte, are you giving her Becky? Doesn't make sense. Becky's too hot. Like, Becky versus Ronda is something that they've teased at for way too long now, and this is something that clearly everyone wants. And if it's not Asuka versus Charlotte, then who? Like I said, I'm completely okay with Asuka versus Charlotte too. It's an interesting situation that they've developed here. And I know there's a lot of people online who are mad. A lot of people are angry. But I think you're supposed to be. I'm just trying to think that I'm just trying to figure out, or at least imagine, what kind of sensible plan they could go ahead with. Because I really honestly believe that a singles match between Becky Lynch, who is your hottest woman on the roster, arguably your hottest star, period, versus Ronda Rousey, who is your biggest star on the roster, the women's roster, that is there. You don't need any more artifice around it. It's just really that simple. Just put those two there. Now, of course, we're all weary about WWE booking, but I think there is still a story, a proper story to be told, to give Becky Lynch the true underdog win. But at this point here, and I'm going to end this, I'm going to end it on this match, on this part here, on this little thought. From this point on, Becky has to become more of the heel man character that they wanted for her. The man character, I should say. Not man character, but the man character that they wanted for her. Then this babyface that suddenly starts agreeing. And like, okay, well, I'll play by your rules. If this is one moment, because it does make sense in Becky Lynch's character to be like, okay, look, I'll play by your rules. You're apologizing. You want me to apologize? Look, I'll apologize. And then she gets shafted. So this is the lesson that you learn here, Becky. You've played by their rules before. You got shafted into a full year to 18 months where they did shit with you. So from this, if this is like, okay, well, look, I'm going to try. I'm going to be good. I'm going to at least, I'm going to put some faith into what's going on here. From this point on, Becky has to be unhinged. She just has to be completely out of control. She has to be. And I hate doing the Stone Cold comparisons. But do you remember when Stone Cold would get double-crossed? What would he do? He'd come to Raw, he'd fuck shit up, he'd stun everyone until he got what he wanted. Now, this is what... I'm not saying that they have to pattern it off of him. But I think in the logic of Becky Lynch's character, of her man character, the man character, she really does need to... She needs to get mad. That's all. She just needs to get really, really pissed off. That's what she has to do at this point. And it's like, nope, nope, nope. I'm coming in and I'm fucking shit up. Because that's what Austin used to do. That's what she has to do at this point. That's just my thought. Robert Larry in the chat says, does anyone think that Vince is making Charlotte as a puppet in this match? You know, I think what they're doing is, basically putting Charlotte in a position where, she has friends in high places. She's the queen. Charlotte Flair, like she was before, she was a babyface. I'm the daughter of a legend. You need to bow down to the queen kind of thing. She's been bringing that shit back. This just makes sense. She's blue blood. That's her thing. Well, there we go. So we're going to end it. We're going to bring this episode of the Mr. Warren Hayes Show to a close. Thank you for the advice, Kristen. It's as if I'm working for her. I don't work for her. But thank you. I want to thank everyone for joining this evening. Overall, I didn't think this was I find that the women are a saving grace on Raw these days. The tag team match was fantastic, but I really think the women are a saving grace. I'm not ready to get up in arms yet about how they've treated Becky or how they did this angle tonight. This is it's a stepping stone. It's a moment. Let's see where they go from here, and then we'll see what happens. Remember to come back tomorrow, everyone. SmackDown Live, 10:30 p.m. Eastern-ish. I should be around to do that. And if you can't pop in tomorrow, remember Fightful Select on Tuesday for my 205 Live NXT UK recap show. And then Thursday, right here, I'll be joined by Kelsey of Super Kicking It with Kelsey, the Two-Face Wrestling Pod. She will be here for the prediction show for Elimination Chamber. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you very much for joining me today. I'll see you next time.